Well, welcome back. So, what did we do last time? I think I got more brown, colored my eggs, colored background Pokemon. So, let's just pick a color and add it this time, and I'm going to go with green. I'm going to add a lot of my greens. Oh, gosh. Now, of course, I want a similar but different green and everything else, so I'm going to start with this one. Kind of a blue to it. You know what? It's got just about what I want. So I'm going to saturate it out, work my pencil around, and then start. And I'm going to start, honestly, over here because it's going to be way easier. I'm just going to kind of speckle it down towards the bottom because I'm planning to change this. And again, this is a base layer, really. Oh, let's go in here and let's erase our pencil marks from yesterday. Huh? Not very much to do there, but... What the heck? Why did that smudge so much? That was worrisome for a second, wasn't it? I just ruined my paper. Alright, I'm going to get this little corner here. Just try to slowly take it to the edge so don't bleed over. And again, margin, but I'm going to put some green over here as well. I may even draw some of the flowers I'm planning to draw over here because, again, you know, I've said this 100 times. I like my picture to be bigger than my margins. Like when you take a photo, there's always something cut off, right? Your old boyfriend, a sign you didn't like, that angry lady in the background. And I like my paintings to be like that because realism. I like life is bigger than the page, you know? And I feel it makes them look more full. I feel like a lot of people purposely paint around their margins and it just looks empty to me. You plan for nothingness, you know? My son went with his grandmother to see Santa today. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to take a moment. Now, you might wonder, why didn't I go? And it's because I dress up every year as Santa. You know, I was also a little insulted at first, but he enjoys it. And I'll just let him have their moment. You know, like the first year I dressed up as Santa, I took him to a friend's house. And I had him go inside and play with the kids while I... put on the Santa clothes. Well, he was like 2.5 at the time. My son, he has a really bad separation anxiety with me. He did not last very long in there. And I didn't want to drop character, so I ended up driving him home as Santa Claus. We went through the drive-thru and whatnot. Well, I mean, I was a clown for his birthday. I went through the drive-thru too, but... dang it, I got a little green in his crotch. Well, I'll cover that up later with the burns I've been talking about. This picture, it looks nice now. It's really going to change later once the burns are in there. I think it's going to change how a lot of people see it. Anyways, yeah, so like I drove him home as Santa. Got someone to watch him, went off, undressed, and came in and pretended like Santa and him took the car and I had to walk home. I gotta tell you, there's not a lot of feelings better than having children look at you and think you're some sort of magical, godlike being there just to fulfill their wishes and make them happy. Like, the amount of love that child experiences in that moment is amazing. And the second year, we just did it at home, and it's funny, my father was very jealous, and I'm like, oh, you never dressed like Santa my entire childhood. You're not taking my moment. And of course, I'm going to do the same thing. I tell my son to wait up and then I come in the costume. No, might as well, you know. And, you know, I also don't lie to my child. How do I do that? I tell him that Santa's like a spirit. Some people believe in it and they do these things to make him happy. That way, when he finds out, like, you know, Santa... Well, I mean, Santa did exist. They're harvesting his mana right now, but, what I mean is like the red Santa Claus, the traditional holiday one is with the elves is different than the saint, even though they're the same person. But my point is, he won't be like, oh, you lied to me, it's not real. I mean, he might, but I can have the reason of, well, no, I told you it's a spirit. Something people believe. I never told you it was real or fake. I let you draw your own conclusions. I think you'll be happy later in life that I handled it that way. Same thing with religion. He has the freedom to choose whatever he wants. I'll help him on whatever path he chooses for himself. I think it's the kind of thing you can't force on someone. You know, as long as we're talking about Santa, it's almost Christmas anyways, I feel like I had the perfect, like, Santa isn't real story. I know that's kind of a weird thing to say, like, to be nostalgic about finding out Santa's not real, but I mean, it's like, it couldn't be stereotypically better. What happened is I was 5 years old, and we lived in a double-wide trailer. And I was sleeping in my mother's bed while her and my father were up with my Nana. And I could see down the hall because they left the hall open. And I asked Santa that year for a train. I love trains. And I could see the silhouette of everyone on the wall. I could see my Nana in her chair and my mom talking to her. And I saw my dad go over to where the couch was and reach behind it and pull out this big present. Like on the wall, I seen the shadows of all this. And he put it behind the tree. And then the next day, I get up and the cookies we laid out, my parents had eaten most of them and crumbled them up. They even wrote a letter in red ink from Santa Claus in cursive, which, I mean, I couldn't read. I was 5. Kind of think of, they might have just scribbled on a piece of paper. I mean, like, I was 5. I couldn't read cursive. Anyways, like, I went through the whole thing. I was like, oh, look, Santa brought you. And I was like, after the whole thing was over, I was like, I saw you guys last night go behind the couch. And my mom's excuse at the time was she didn't, like, try to be like, all right, you got it, Santa's not real. She tried to say, well, actually, I thought Santa would bring you a stupid one, like a baby one. So I told him just to bring you candy this year for your stocking, and then I would get you a train. And that's why I was like, no, dude, he has magical elves that make, like, Nintendo games somehow. Make on-brand things. Like, no, Santa's got the best stuff. And I kind of knew at that moment. You know, I mean, I was already doubting it. I think most kids start to at that age. You start getting a better grasp of what is real or what to expect out of the world. Especially if you're into stuff and they're constantly telling you that's not real. It's like, well, then how's this real? I don't know. It seems like one of those little Christmas story things in retrospect now. I really don't think I could have had a better way of finding out Santa wasn't real. You know, as long as we're here talking about Christmas, this is going to be really bad later on for people who don't like Christmas stuff. They're like, oh, this looks tropical. Let me click on this video. He's talking about fucking Christmas. But anyways, one time when I was in 4th grade, there was these 2 girls arguing about whether or not Santa was real. One of them, no, and the other one, yes. And I knew, you know, at the time, because, I mean, I was 5 when I found out. I think I was, like, 9 in 4th grade. Anyways, like, I already knew the answer, but I was arguing for the girl that thought that Santa was real, just to keep the argument going. And I knew about, like, Mr. Hanky and shit, because I had watched South Park, and they had no idea what I was talking about, so I'd just throw in Mr. Hanky lore. And not tell him that he's a talking piece of shit. And they didn't know. They're just like, this kid must be like German or something. Well, anyways, my teacher comes over. She was one of my favorite teachers, actually. Same woman lent me money one time when I didn't have money for lunch. Anyways, I just forgot it at home. I brought it the next day, gave it to her. But she she came over and she's like, why are you guys arguing? Well, you know, this is free time for reading. You know, you shouldn't be doing this. And I looked at her and I said, well, Mrs. Redacted, Cindy and Lindy here are arguing about whether or not Santa Claus is real. And I'm really like, you know, I want to know too. I just completely lied to the woman. And she probably knew I was, and she got this look on her face like, ugh, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. And she's like, well, if you guys need to talk about that, you can go out into the hall. Like, most teachers would have just told you to shut up, do it after class. She's like, you guys can go out in the hall, and when you're done, come back in and rejoin us. And I was like, yes. And I got these two girls to go outside and keep arguing about whether or not Santa exists for the rest of that class until lunch period. And then when we got back, we were no longer seated together. It wasn't like she moved us. It's like you grouped together for certain parts of the day, then you took your desk apart. But, oh, man. Oh. Children are like that, though. They figure out, if you're not as strong, you figure out how to get what you want, or you don't get it. You know? But I love that memory. You know, probably partway through this video, like, you have any Christmas memories? You know, I know, like, you literally can't. Well, I mean, you could share in the comments if you want something. I mean, I suggest not getting too personal or giving personal information, but, you know, I would like to hear them. I would read them. If they're really good, you know, I'd even do a video being like, look at these comments. Freaking awesome. But, you know, like, I'm just asking for you. Like, maybe there's something, grandma's cookies or something, or your really long stocking. Maybe it was that stuffed animal that only comes out once a year because it's got a Santa hat on it. You know? And again, I'm saying this for you. I'm just, like, trying to send you down a little path of memory. And I'm going to do like I did with that one. I'm going to leave it kind of wavy. And you'll see when I go and I add in more detail grass. I mean, to me, this looks piss poor at the moment. I'm not going to lie. I said piss. It's not piss rich, that's for sure. But, that's the thing. I know details are going to go over it, but, like, just looking at it now, it's like it's so plain. Alright, we got some greens in. That's more or less all the green I want. Alright, we got... Alright, it's only been about 13 minutes. If it's less than that, then you know how much I cut out. So, I think I'm going to do these rocks. And then maybe we'll get started on the water a bit. So, clean. Wait, this is the clean one. And when you're doing it, you can just go over to your paper, wipe it around. I still got like a hint of green. Wipe it off again, go back to your paper. No color. Get some nice gray. And you know, I feel like I say this a lot, but again, this is just a base coat. These rocks are going to go get later details. There's going to be stretch lights. There's going to be stretched lighting and shadow. You know how I talked about earlier, one different video, the Bonsly, when you get the lines, like, oh, you cut a line in the paper with your pencil that you ended up taking off, and it's messing with the color, and you have to go back and fix it. How you sharpen the pencil and get in there, or go at it from different directions lightly. Watercolor helps with that too, because it permeates into the hole. I'm not going to go all the way down with this one again, because water. Anyways, it permeates into the hole, giggity, and it, when you go over it with color pencil, it kind of helps just fill some of that in for you. And I'm adding a little ring to this guy's neck. That was bothering me earlier. I wanted to wait till stuff was a little more dry. And there really isn't a lot of rocks here. I guess I could do the sand too, but the thing is, the sand and the green is so on top of each other, I really want to give it a moment to dry. Oh, I hate when I do this. So I just finished the gray. I noticed right here I forgot to do some of my green, so whoop, wash my pen off already, saturate it out till it's about where I want it, and there we go. Oh wow, it's looking pretty green. I'm gonna go to this light spot here and just radiate out. There we go. That's looking like a nice tropical scene now. So, oh man, I'm gonna have to flip this orientation. Anyways, I'm gonna go throw some logs on the fire real quick and do some of this blue. It'll be instantaneous for you. I'm simply telling you so you know that I'm allowing the passage of time for this to dry a bit more. Okay, I'm back. So, anyone curious why I'm burning wood? You know, I'm doing this wildfire relief picture. Where I live, we actually only take fallen trees, which is legal. You often need a permit to do it, but that's about it. It's a pretty cheap permit. It's a lot cheaper than paying for electricity to heat your house all winter. And they actually want you to do it because you take the fallen trees, there's less debris and ground coverage to catch on fire and cause wildfires. A big thing our firefighters do locally is just go around and do controlled burnings of ground litter. So you taking the fallen trees really helps. And personally, I don't like the heat from heaters. It feels like it makes everything feel very stuffy and full, and I don't know, a fire's different. It radiates heat. It doesn't change the air pressure in your house. I don't know how else to describe it. I just don't like it, and most people don't understand why when I try to speak about it. I'm not going to waste time now. I got blue here. I'm going to try it on my separate paper. Okay. Nice, just base blue. Really deep. And, you know, again, probably like the third time I said this in the video, this is our base layer. We'll be going in and drawing on top of this and adding detail much later. Also, you know, often with watercoloring, you have to do a lot of layers. And for me, it's easier to just put down some quick layers, let them dry, and then come back and touch them up. A lot of this picture right now looks really flat. And it's going to continue to do that until we get to that stage, especially like Bondsley. Like him and freaking Executor, they're going to change so much. And their shadowing and effects and just everything will. Still, I'm sure to a lot of people, like I notice when it's the white drawing, they don't usually get as much clicks. And I think, especially like the more complicated the drawing gets, the harder it is to define and pick things out. There's little contrast, especially because I'm not like cell shading with pencil. I'm literally just drawing outlines to add the shading later. Anyways, it can be hard to imagine or even see what I'm doing, and the more color I get in there, the more people seem to want to see the... I know, so I think some people are just waiting until I finish it. I get it. Some people just want to see the art. That's why I try to do a pretty good job of labeling the videos. I honestly figure most people who want to sit here and watch me paint and ramble about... I don't know, it's rambling. It doesn't have an about. Anyways, the kind of people are trying to relax. Maybe I'm on in the background. Maybe you've completely muted me and you just want to see me paint. Or you want something calming while you study, or you try to go to sleep. And personally, I find that a little touching. You know what I just remembered? We gotta erase this peach. I'm so glad I remembered that right now. Oh, I'm gonna try to brush away from the water. Oh my god. Oh, thank goodness. Ooh, we almost messed up Gary. So, we are going to do Gary more saturated. might help them stand out, but because I do want them to stand out a bit. There we go. Okay. Back to painting our trees, huh? Oh, painting around our trees. I knew when I gave him this position that it was going to be a pain in the butt to paint around. The other thing how I'm wanting to go... Oh, I got my tree again. I'm wanting to go and add light effects. Or flowers. I'm thinking of them as the light effects because I'm going to do them around the same time. With the same medium. Anyways. I gotta make sure to be light here because I don't want saturation of color and mixing of color later. I also realized I forgot to paint these stones here, so I'll probably go back and touch up some gray. I'm not going to spend too much time trying to get these to blend right now again because it's not the finite version. And it'll actually be kind of easier to blend it once it dries out a bit. Not have to worry about messing up my paper. See, blending stuff like on these characters is easy. They have sections. I can use the sections to hide the brush marks. With the water, it's a lot harder because it's just one giant open section. See, I'm trying not to go to the line like it did here. It got darker because I'm going to go and fill that all together later. Okay. Mix, dab, dilute. So when you try to get paint on your brush so you can get paint off your brush, let's go behind Executor. I want to finish up this area. Let's say I'm done with it. Maybe I want to start painting this way. I don't want to have to come back here. See right there, I just dipped in water. That's another way to blend is when it's still kind of fresh, you just dip in water and spread through it again. Oh my gosh. Okay, this part is very nerve-wracking. Gotta get his tooth. Don't want to give him a blue tooth. I guess he's executive now. What have you done with the Pinsky file? I don't even think you know what we do here, Bonsley. I told you last time. The fine women and the ripping and the tearing. Yeah, you thought that joke was over, and no, ripping and tearing guy came back. I won't put him up on the screen this time, though. Bonsley, he's a ripping and tearing. You know, if anything happens because of these videos, I hope that it's Bonsley forever being associated with the ripping and tearing guy. That would be... I could die happy with that. That'd be hilarious. Knowing I affected what is like a very sweet, and I think a very just underused Pokemon. Don't really give a shit about Bonsley. They're just adding more babies at the time. Like, oh, look, here's one. People are like, ugh. I don't think too many people cared about baby forms unless you gave them some sort of exclusive move. Or they used them so much in the marketing that someone's like, that's my favorite. I remember when I was a kid and they added Pichu to Smash Brothers. Oh man, people hated it because it's like, it's just weaker Pikachu. He hurts himself with electricity. And I would play as Pichu just because it would piss off like my cousins and whatnot. I mean, Pikachu already pissed them off because they would try to get over me. I just chew down B, launch them off. They'd be like, that's a cheat. You shouldn't use that move. Well, you guys... Oh, well, I'll talk about that in a minute. So, yeah, I used it and it'd make them more angry. I'd do better. But, you know what I found out, not until I was like 18, is that the C-Stick really controls the character. And, so once I started using the C-Stick, especially with the Fire Emblem characters, I got a lot better than them really quick. They just weren't telling me how to play the game properly, really. I gotta ask them how you do that. Oh, it's the button. They're using the C-Stick. They're launching me off with Marth. Once I started doing it, it's like, oh yeah, this is why you guys are so much better than me. You know, another strategy I used to have is I make fun of Josh a lot on here. And I'm not saying that as in a person. I mean like Josh's. What is it, Josh? They like fuzzy things. They like black things. They like some sort of weird music. They got feelings. They're usually some sort of artist. But the main thing that most Joshes love is black clothing. Well, that's pretty much it, is black clothing. Like, hands down, every Josh I've ever known wants to dress in black. And it's funny because it's like, it's not a unique thing. I mean, I do it myself. I like black. I like the emptiness. But all the Joshes do it. So, one time, my cousin, Josh, we were playing. And when he's out of the room, he was like a Marth. And he'd always be black and name himself Josh. I picked his other common character, Link. And I switched him to being black. And I changed my name to Josh with the 0 instead of the O. He got halfway through the match because it was like us and like 2 other people before he realized what was going on. He's like, wait a minute. Oh, I love that moment. Love that moment. Okay, so I got most of the base for my blue down, so now we're going to go and do these rocks. And a little blue and gray go good together, actually, so if it bleeds, not a big deal. Forgot about these mossy rocks. Then I'm going to put ivy effects all over. Okay. Oh man, I just hit the tripod and it slung water everywhere. Luckily, none of it went at the picture. So, what did we do today? Well, it's starting to look like a nice little background. You know, I guess I'll start on the sky next time. A lot of those colors. It's really going to be a bitch to get around here. I'm probably going to do, like, honestly, like here. Like the oranges, and then I'm going to fill it over. I don't know. It's going to be a challenge, but that's what art is about, pushing yourself and challenging yourself. I'm really liking how it's going so far, though. I'm sure it looks a lot more complete to you at home who has limited graphics with the phone and whatnot. So, again, to wrap this up, if you ever have any Pokemon you would like to see painted on the channel, yeah, you're free to leave a comment. If you have any charities you'd like me to paint for, you can tell me about that too. If I look into them, I think they're worthwhile, I'll definitely paint something for them. If you want to commission anything, again, my lines are always open. And even if you don't want to commission something, and you just think you have a really cool idea for a picture, I'd love to hear about it, because even if you're not going to buy it, I can still paint it, and then auction it off for a charity. Which, I mean, that's pretty much the main goal of this channel at the moment. Charitable work. But, you know, once again, this has been a bit of a cathartic video for me. Yeah, I'm really liking how it is, and now it's getting excited because it's like, once I get the sky down, I'll be past all the boring painting parts. I mean, I still gotta do this sand a bit. But I'll be past most of the boring painting parts, and I'll be able to really start touching it up, putting in effects, making it look more. But until then, thank you for your time. And remember, any engagement you give my videos always greatly helps me out. I really do appreciate you making it this far in the video. And, you know, until we meet again, stay safe out there. You know, I just wanted to add one more thing I just thought of. I remember a long time ago seeing this tattoo. It was like a badly drawn Pikachu, and they solved it by doing a frame around it and doing a little artist Pikachu next to it. I want to do something like that with my son. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a piece of paper. I'm going to draw a square. I'm going to tell him, draw everything in the square. He's probably going to go out a little bit. And then I'm going to draw I'm going to get another piece of paper, cut that out, put a frame around it, and have a schmargle there like he drew it. Like, yeah, I think that'll be pretty cool. So I'll put that on the list of stuff I want to do on the channel.